Think green, think clean. It's green thinking Joey Reynolds. You know, every week when I do this, the once a week, the garbage truck comes. As soon as I'm recording, the garbage zoom. But we're lucky to have that service, you know. They pick up the garbage here on a regular basis. That's because we produce a lot of garbage on a regular basis. I'll tell you, this is a well-run planet. You know, we got a lot of places to dump the plastic. Why are we putting that in the ocean? I was with a company a couple of years ago that had turned plastic into oil. And unfortunately, they would take 1,000 tons of plastic and you get a quart of oil. That wasn't exactly it wasn't a good deal. You know, when we got rid of the plastic, oh yeah. See, plastic has oil in it. So you know that, don't you? And there's a difference in the grade of fuels. You know, the jet fuel is the heaviest fuel. And the lightest fuel is no, wait a minute. That's the lightest fuel. I got it wrong. And you heat it. And the heaviest fuel is the kerosene, and the diesel fuel. That's the heaviest oil. See, I learned a lot, but I forgot a lot too. What is this called? It's called memory loss? No, it's called, I got too many things in my head. There was a guy on my show years ago I had an all-night radio show for 5 hours every night. We had nothing to do but listen to everybody talk, and I didn't do all the talking. I slept through a lot of it. They just don't know that. But, you know, there's a guy who was from the Ford Foundation, and he said that the mind, I said, is like a computer. He said, no, it's not. And I said, what do you mean? He said, no, the computer is limited. It's only what you give it. Your mind is unlimited. You know, you have imagination, you have conscience, you have free will. These are not gifts of the robots. But today they made a genetically altered, genetically produced pig, which is not a good thing during Hanukkah, but they come out with this pig that's genetically... how do they make a pig? They make a pig out of a pig? Is that it? The last time I saw a pig, I had to pay her $100. Hey, that's a bad joke. You know, this is a different... it's a difficult routine to sit here and have this crazy mind I have. Let's see what else I'm going to tell you about MG Kelly, Machine Gun Kelly. You heard of him? Well, they're doing a fundraiser now for pandemics, and all of the big rap artists are there. I think somewhere at the Apollo Theater in New York is the toughest audience in the world, they say. You get out there on Wednesday, they have amateur night, and they have a guy who has a hook, and he's a clown outfit and a hook, and if you get booed, they hook you off the stage because the audience is very judgmental. That's the whole bit. That's the Wednesday night crowd at the Apollo in Harlem. And I used to live there up in Harlem, you know, and I frequented the Apollo. The worst thing about the Apollo was not the entertainment, but the dressing rooms. They got the whole theater beautifully done. The marquee is done, the outside, the inside. It's new carpeting, and then you go in the ladies' room. You go into the back room where the artists are, and it's they should put a flush handle on it. It's such a toilet. But that's where James Brown started, and also Jackie Wilson, big rock and roll stars, and now Machine Gun Kelly, who dances a little bit like he's a frenetic Michael Jackson, you know, but he's a rapper too, and they call him Machine Gun because he talks rapidly. He had a few albums and they sold, and then he fell to the bottom like many of us, and he got back up again by doing an album about his failure, which is pretty good, you know. I'm gonna do a whole series of things on my failure. I'm not a failure. The reason I'm not a failure is because I don't think I am. Everything is in your mind, you know. It's where you are. This is where you play. You play up here. Nobody plays in the audience of the theater of the mind is where it counts, not the theater of the people out there cheering. I got booed. He got booed over at the Apollo, but he kept going. Machine Gun did years ago. I got booed at the. I made a comment at the Meadowlands. There were 16,000 people, and I was there, and I said, when Obama was running, I said, you know, the White House is going to be the Black House. And I got booed. I never realized that I was in a room full of 16,000 rednecks. I should have looked at the crowd, but, you know, when you're on the stage, you're blinded by the light. You don't see the color of their necks. And, you know, people are cruel when you're not saying what they want to hear. I don't know how this whole country ever just got let television get to where it is. It's disgusting because it's not very entertaining. You know, we pay for it. We pay for the commercials. It's torturesome to watch all these commercials. You know what they ought to do on the news? I'm going to send this video of this to CBS. They ought to wake up a little bit. Let me tell you, there goes the garbage. Speaking of the news on CBS. Hey, bye. Come again. This is have a nice day. I love when they say that. It's been replaced, so people don't say have a nice day anymore. They say, I'm glad you're alive. So the news on CBS, here's what they ought to do. They ought to have the half-hour news. They want to compete with NBC and ABC and all the other people. Have one sponsor. One sponsor. Not all these commercials for the pharmaceuticals and the car companies and the insurance and names you got to learn, like Travago. What's the new one you got to learn? They got all these names, these crazy names you got to learn of things. What's the one, the Solanus, or the patch that you put on yourself? Solana patch or something. I mean, what are we doing? Where are they making up these names? Is there a room somewhere where they try to fool us? Anyway, the CBS television should have one sponsor for the news. One half hour, one commercial, one intro. The following half hour news is brought to you by Toyota, period. And then you don't interrupt the news for half an hour, have the commercial at the end, and everybody goes home happy. But they're not doing that. Why? Because they're stupid. Why are they stupid? Because they're not doing things according to how you please people. They do things according to something someone taught them somewhere, or some greedy little slob that sits there and makes up all these rules. It's ridiculous. And a lot of this started because people were allowed to get away with it to begin with, and nobody ever stopped them. It's like a spoiled child. You know, if you don't stop the kid, he ain't never going to change. When he gets older, he will just be an older version of whatever he was that you didn't control. And you can't control children, but you sure can model them. And you know, if you behave and act accordingly, the kids will usually follow what you do, not what you say. Now, how about this for a Dr. Oz? We don't need some guy with a Texas accent on television every day that became a star because of Oprah. So he's not even an A-lister. He's a B-lister. And you sit there, and he's even having trouble with his own son. They don't even speak to each other. It was like Madeleine Murray O'Hair, who didn't, she was the atheist, world-famous atheist, and her one son became a minister. The other son couldn't stand his mother and never talked to her again. And it's family fallout. What does it come from? It comes from celebrity. You know, if you're a celebrity and you're known for something. My kids know me to be, well, they know me to be a lot of things, but I'm really, they know me to be a good father, which is the beginning of it. And then the other part of it is you can't be walking around the house, you know, like a peacock. You got to start doing what they know is right. And you know what? This generation is different. They know what's right is different than what we knew was right. Or we all would be dating pilgrims. And I don't think I want to go out with a pilgrim. Thou sucks. It's a Reynolds Wrap.